Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to another episode of FluentCast, the podcast that helps you enhance your English skills through engaging and relevant topics. I'm your host, Diego, and today we have a thought-provoking episode lined up for you. Before we dive in, I want to remind you to subscribe to FluentCast on your favorite podcast platform. By subscribing, you make sure you never miss an episode packed with useful English tips and fascinating discussions. If you enjoy the show, consider leaving a review. It helps us grow and reach more English learners like you. So guys, it's hard to believe that it's been 5 years. 5 years since the COVID-19 pandemic reshaped our world in unprecedented ways. The term unprecedented means something that has never happened before. In this episode, we'll explore how our lives have transformed over these years, focusing on changes in work habits, social behaviors, psychological effects, and the role of technology. So, without any further ado, let's get started. It is 2025, and I can't believe it has been 5 years since the craziness of the pandemic. For me, it feels like it was just yesterday, or any time not so long ago as 5 years, with all the lockdowns, anti-vaxxers, with crazy unreasonable conspiracies, and big changes in the workplace, having everything online and mainly work shifting from presential to remote. So, let's begin by discussing work habits. Before the pandemic, the traditional work model involved commuting to an office daily. However, COVID-19 forced many companies to adopt remote work, also known as working from home. Commuting refers to traveling between one's home and workplace. This shift was initially a necessity due to health concerns, but over time, both employers and employees began to recognize its benefits and challenges. One significant development has been the rise of hybrid work models where employees split their time between the office and home. This approach aims to balance the flexibility of remote work with the collaborative environment of the office. However, this transition hasn't been seamless for everyone. For instance, some employees have experienced stress due to employers enforcing return to office mandates, highlighting the complexities of adapting to new work structures. Moving on to social behaviors, the pandemic has left an indelible mark on how we interact with one another. By the way, the word indelible means something that cannot be removed or forgotten. Lockdowns and social distancing measures led to a temporary halt in traditional social activities, such as dining out and attending events. While many of these activities have resumed, the way we approach them has changed. I remember staying away from any social gatherings during the pandemic to keep myself and my household safe. It took a bit for me to feel comfortable being around crowds again. What about you? One interesting example is that in the UK, the hospitality industry has observed shifts in consumer behavior. Pubs, bars, and restaurants have seen heightened activity on Thursdays, replacing the traditional Friday night rush. Despite these adaptations, the number of venues has not yet returned to pre-pandemic levels, indicating ongoing challenges in the industry. Additionally, some individuals continue to feel a bit reluctant to return to old social habits. The convenience of virtual connectivity has, for some, replaced in-person interactions, leading to a more isolated and digitally connected existence. We can't ignore how the pandemic has affected our mental health. The stuff we went through and the way things have changed since then have left some pretty deep marks on how we feel. The psychological effects of the pandemic are profound and multifaceted. Profound means very deep or intense, and multifaceted means having many aspects or sides. Prolonged isolation and the disruption of daily routines have significantly impacted mental health across various demographics. Healthcare workers, for instance, have experienced increased levels of depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress, especially those exposed during the early stages of the pandemic. Moreover, the general public has faced challenges such as isolation and loneliness, job loss, and financial instability, all contributing to a decline in mental well-being. And what about tech? It's pretty clear how much technology has become a part of our lives in this post-pandemic world. Technology has been both a savior and a source of concern during these times. On one hand, digital tools have enabled us to stay connected, work remotely, and access essential services like telemedicine. Telemedicine refers to the remote diagnosis and treatment of patients through telecommunications technology. The pandemic accelerated the adoption of such technologies, making them integral to our daily lives. However, this increased reliance on digital devices has raised concerns about excessive screen time and its impact on mental health. Studies have shown that while technology facilitates virtual social connectedness, it can also lead to negative consequences if overused. As we reflect on these transformations, it's essential to consider how they've influenced our language learning journeys. The shift to online platforms has opened up new avenues for learning, allowing for more flexible and personalized education. The rise of digital learning tools, from interactive apps to virtual classrooms, has made it easier than ever for learners to access quality education from anywhere. Technology has redefined the way we connect, breaking geographical barriers and fostering new ways of interaction between teachers and students. At Fluent English Academy, we've really leaned into the whole digital transformation thing, but we still keep things personal with our students. As an online English school, we focus on personal interactions and customize our lessons to fit each student's needs, making sure that learning stays fun and effective. We understand that the transition to online learning was challenging for many, so we have added a more personal touch to our lessons to make students feel comfortable even when communicating through the screen. I've seen students really gain confidence as they work on their English no matter where they are in the world. The secret has been keeping it real with communication and making the learning environment just as interactive and supportive as a regular classroom. Fluent English Academy has definitely changed a lot because of the pandemic. But who hasn't been affected by the pandemic, right? It's hard to believe it's been 5 years since it all started, and we still feel its effects every day, right from the moment we wake up to when we head to work. I invite you, our listeners, to reflect on your own experiences over the past 5 years. How have these changes impacted your daily life, work habits, social interactions, and learning processes? Understanding these shifts can provide valuable insights into how we navigate our present and future. Thank you for joining me on this episode of FluentCast. I hope this discussion has provided you with both valuable insights and new vocabulary to enhance your English proficiency. Remember, language learning is not just about memorizing words, but also about understanding the contexts in which they are used. Stay curious, stay connected, and until next time, keep learning. See you next week on our next episode. Bye-bye.